confusion, fire burn illusion, leaders of the nation. You walk in disguise so we don't know your real intention. You the girl to operate to build a better nation. Must find a solution for this your confusion. Gonna burn your evil, I say. Bum bum bum, the evil of the bum. People has been waiting for good time so long. Bum bum bum, the evil of the bum. Rightful feeling try to spread through this your song. Bum bum bum, the evil of the bum. People has been waiting for good time so long. Bum bum bum, the evil of the bum. Rightful feeling try to spread through this your song. Talking about the truth and right. Wicked are come, don't give up your fight. The strength and power in the hands of the righteous one. Try to do your best, you fear no one. We need to be secure for sure. Heavier and heavier is a load, it's not a joke. Give you energy unto the righteous things. Love is the meaning of creation, say. Bum bum bum, the evil of the bum. People has been waiting for good time so long. Bum bum bum, the evil of the bum. Rightful feeling try to spread through this your song. Bum bum bum, the evil of the bum. People has been waiting for good time so long. Bum bum bum, the evil of the bum. Rightful feeling try to spread through this
Okay, there. We should hear the audio now. What I was saying was, please forgive me if there's any technological issues because we're using a new platform to stream, and obviously, yeah, that was one one of the issues there. Um, but it appears that the audio is on now. Apparently, it doesn't come on automatically. Um, the other platform that we were using uh, previously, StreamYard, has some issues because it requires a Google login, and some people's devices and everything um, were not um, working great with that. Avigdor Eskin was attempting to come in to the live stream last week, and the Google, for whatever reason, just didn't want to let him. So that's why we're experimenting with this new platform, Restream. This one also will be simulcasting to the JDL USA YouTube channel. Um, in case you're wondering about that. Um, I haven't previously been streaming to the YouTube channel because on my old show, just the Natasha Devine show, which wasn't necessarily primarily Jewish focused, although obviously yeah, it's coming from Jewish perspective, right? But the censorship on YouTube was just out of control. I really was in the middle of a stream and they cut it off. And the thing is, there's no like notification to me that the stream has just been cut off, right? So I'm just talking and blah 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 blah, thinking that this is all becoming a show and everything. And it had cut off in like the first 10 minutes, and I was talking for like 40 minutes. So it was, needless to say, I was a little pissed off at that. And so I stopped using YouTube for streaming for that reason. Because look, if I upload something, they delete it, whatever. I still have my source video. I can upload it somewhere else. I can put it on the blog and say banned from YouTube, whatever, right? But when you're streaming live, that is the recording, right? That's it right there. So if they cut you off and it's not actually recording, then you've lost that moment. You've lost that recording. And so, yeah, that sucked. And they took offense to something um, against vaccine mandates, I believe. And then, so they didn't like my 9/11 special. So two times they. Zile 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 yo alle gal mille 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 mille. Just make that weird music play whenever there's a tech issue. So if you hear the, the weird song play, you know that there's something weird going on. This is the tune for tech issues. Zile 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 yo alle gal mille 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 mille. Zile 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 yo alle gal mille 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 mille. Okay. Well, anyway, so yeah, um, that's basically censorship is the reason why I have not been really. using YouTube to stream. Um, um, so, geez, if it cuts off over here on from the YouTube end, then at least it's still recording on Twitch. Because Restream, it's got some weird technical stuff getting used to, but it does give the additional option of streaming to two different platforms at once. So we might keep using it. We'll see. If it acts too screwed up, too many problems, then we'll go back to primarily using StreamYard, or we'll uh, try some different tech. We're just trying out all of the various ones here. We don't have the Zoom Pro account or whatever. Somebody asked me, what can we on Zoom. Some people do that, but it costs money, and we don't have that. So if you want us to get those type of things, tell your friends to donate. Obviously, we're going to have to get a new podcast mic thing here because it's having issues as well. But speaking of donations, might as well mention that we are trying to raise roughly $200 to keep the internet and all of these various electronic communications active. Yeah, by Hanukkah, we are trying to raise $200 for that. So if you or your friends or relatives, whoever, any type of supporters would like to donate, you can either go to the JDL US and click on one of the donation buttons there, or you can go directly to donate.thejdl.us. Also, if you see there's a little QR code, that's another feature on this platform that we didn't have in the other one, is that you can put little QR codes. So down there you can buy a magazine, which, by the way, if you recently ordered a magazine, we will be sending those out soon. I just have been sick, so I haven't been to the post office, and I figure you don't want me touching your magazines when I was sick. So those will be going out soon. But yeah, if you want to just donate, you can donate at that up there or order magazine down there. So obviously Syria is in a shambles, and we all knew that it was just a matter of time before Assad either got Gaddafi'd or left the country. And I think he was smart in leaving the country. He's in Moscow now. I think that was probably his smartest move because they were going to hang him for sure. No doubt about it. They were going to make a public display out of him. And this brings also up the concept, because we're talking about political violence. The U.S. healthcare shooter being made into some sort of folk hero when he's really just a crazy leftist who killed somebody. Obviously, you know, me being, against the vaccine business and a lot of these things, I would be assumed to be, oh, cheering this guy on or something. But you don't just go and shoot people, especially people who haven't directly done anything to you. Like this guy wasn't a threat to this shooter. He was not even a U.S. healthcare client. Like he went and killed somebody from a company he wasn't even using. Uh, so whatever was going on with his back pain and everything, it was, I mean, it was the wrong choice, clearly. But since he was anti-capitalist and I guess somewhat nominally good looking to people, they have turned this killer into like some sort of, small time celebrity. And it just shows you the degeneracy nowadays. People really have sunk to a new low, really, because a guy um, that's just a CEO for a company, you don't even know exactly what he did. You look very foolish if you're trying to be like a revolutionary and do an assassination of someone who you're not even aware of his activities. He's just one guy at a company that was established long before he was involved. He's only been um, this Thompson guy was only the CEO of this company for 4 or 5 years. Um, it, it seemed more like he got assassinated because he was rumored to be potentially um, you know an enemy, let's just say a political legal enemy of Nancy Pelosi. I don't know if he was actually going to testify against her, but these rumors are being circulated. Okay. Um, but once again, the mainstream, the TikTok generation, the Gen Z, they're not into looking deeper into it or analyzing what was really going on, anything like that. They just want to go, oh, he shot a rich guy. He's a hero. Now, yeah, I would be considered a populist and pro working class, generally speaking. However, that doesn't mean that I have some hatred for wealthy people. And I think some people think that by hating this other group, that they're somehow defending their own group. But they're not. Again, pardon me, coughing. I'm recovering a little bit from something. uh, but when you kill a rich person, that doesn't do anything for the working class. It doesn't make our lives better. As a matter of fact, it's probably going to make life harder. Rates for healthcare, especially from that company, will definitely go up. Um, but the Torah teaches us that we're not supposed to judge a person by their wealth, and that works both ways. We're not supposed to give special favor to somebody because they're rich, nor are we supposed to look down on somebody because they have less money, because they're very poor. So you're supposed to interact with a person based on how they interact with you. If they're a good person, God is the true judge in the end. But we're not supposed to decide our dealings with someone based on the status of their wealth. So to say, well, they killed somebody that's rich, that's great. That's not great. You have established that essentially to these people, it's okay to them to identify a class of people for dehumanization and then assassinate them, kill them on the street. That's not okay. And there have even been a couple Jewish people I've seen, supporting this. They're like, yeah, these healthcare monsters, and I'm not saying to kill somebody, but I don't feel bad for it. It's like you should feel bad because first of all, what did the guy's family do? What did his kids do? What did his pets do? Nothing. But it's okay that they're all suffering without their family member now because of some concept of a class that this person fits in. We don't even know any details of anything specifically dastardly that this individual himself actually did. We just know that he worked for a company of a certain class that we don't like. So what happens, of course, obviously, when that becomes Zionists? Oh, well, they can shoot us in the street now because of we're monsters. When we're inhuman. We're supporting a genocide to them. What they think is genocide because they don't know what words mean. So what do you really expect then, right? You cannot allow essentially genocide talk to be normalized. What you're talking about is naming classes of people, whether they specifically be a political group or an ethnic group, whatever. But you're saying that it's okay to kill them. That's not acceptable. That's not acceptable in Judaism. That's not acceptable as being a decent person. That's not acceptable. And anybody around you romanticizing this freak, please call them out and say that is not in line with Torah. That's not in line with Jewish values. That's not in line with Western civilized values. We have processes in place for criminality. If this guy had really done some terrible shit that he needed to be killed for, there are processes legally to go through for that. And frankly, it's just that much more satisfying to see justice actually be done rather than vigilante killing, because with a vigilante killing, you don't really get down to the root of what actually happened. You don't get to truly expose all the crimes. You just get, people who are against the healthcare companies are crazy killers. That's what you get now. That didn't help his cause of supporting people, regular people, against the big healthcare companies. It really, truly did not. So that's partially why I think it might be a false flag. But let's compare that, the reaction, the public reaction, the internet reaction, um, to the way that they're reacting to Syria, right? People are acting like something, you know, the Palestine crowd is a little bit mixed up because they're not really sure who to support. I've seen primarily hardcore communists sad. Oh, Assad fell. I'm upset. People who like really want to like kiss Putin's ass more than anything. They just are like, oh no, the axis of resistance has fallen. But then you have some of the pro-Palestine people um, who are cheering because they feel like Islamists took over a secular uh, government. They overthrew it. So, and there are different factions, obviously, in the whole Syrian mess. There's Turkish-backed factions. There's ISIS. There's HTS, and I can't even remember all the names of different groups, but there's a lot of them. And Assad's people, the Alawites, are supposedly trying to contact Israel, get them to be supportive, because they're a minority there or whatever. But let's look at two different viewpoints where these people. We're going to look at the hard left. Not the people in the middle who are confused and don't know their messaging, but the hard left. They are upset that Assad has fallen, but yet support a guy wanting to shoot a guy just for working at a company. There's some cognitive dissonance there, right? Like, oh, this guy who we have proof of what he has done to people, all these thousands of people that he's jailed, tortured, killed. We know what he did. Sad that he fell. Other guy just worked for a company. We don't really have any details. The guy that killed him was not even affected by this guy's policies in any way because he never used the company. That's good. That's what I mean. Like they are mentally unstable, and the messaging is purposely divisive and confusing from the top. And at the bottom, they just go, the rank and file, they always just follow what their handlers tell them, essentially. They don't use a lot of critical thinking. Obviously, if you used a lot of critical thinking, you would not be supporting this shooter guy, and it just gets into like this dark triad psychology where whoever is against them is like this dehumanized evil monster, and anybody who's intersectional on their side, they don't even have to really agree with them, but as long as they intersect somewhere on that weird left spectrum, they can do no wrong. And it's dangerous that this many people, um, this many people are that crazy. Really, they're like at a level of crazy that previously I don't think the mainstream public was exposed to. I dealt with this level of crazy and this cognitive dissonance for years, and many years ago, in the political underground, in like punk and anarchist circles, where they would have, a guy that was there talking about some militant, you know, viewpoint about something, and like a black nationalist, and then right at the same event there would be some like gay feminist thing, which clearly went against what the guy in the black nationalist circle was talking about. But they intersect somewhere where they don't like capitalism and white imperialism, whatever, and then that makes all of the other disagreements okay. Doesn't matter that this person would really consider the other person racist um, outside of this context, right? But they blend together in this intersectional mess. Um, and essentially, what used to be underground in the punk and extreme uh, world is now mainstream. Now we're dealing with it at a scale, at a European scale, really, because we've never had this too much in the United States up until um, the turn of this century. Um, I talk about it a little bit in the anti-Antifa handbook, um, but in 1999, in the Battle of Seattle, um, that essentially was the model, right? Like they figured out how to get a part of a city shut down, how to pressure the government so much that they essentially give up and give them uh, an autonomous zone. And that's what happened. And they did that um, where it became a no-go zone, where the mayor said, shops are closed, told normal, regular people to stay away from the downtown. Um, and that was the first time that had really happened in America. Yes, there's been riots before, but nothing where they just gave up. Previously, riots involved a good amount of police resistance, but in this case, they kind of just were like, "Oh well, uh, I guess it's out of control, guys." They just like let it go. So after that, we can't be surprised when you have Chaz Chop, things like that, and then now what you see with the Palestine encampments, protests, and all that stuff. Um, After this winter break for the colleges, universities, and all that stuff, as it warms up, you're likely to see the encampments again. Um, on private university properties, there's legally not much you can do unless you're a student or staff. You can work on getting the policy change. But if it's a public campus like UCLA or a state school, something like that, um, they're breaking the law. They're not allowed to block public property that is United States um, constitutionally protected area that you can go uh, as an individual who is a student or not a student or anything, and you're not supposed to be able to block people in that instance. So do make sure you know whether the encampment you're dealing with is on public property or not. Because they're stepping on your rights if it's on public property. But if it's on private property, well, the schools can decide to allow Nazi encampments if they want, but you should definitely stop supporting that school. You should stop giving money to them. You should stop having people go to it that you know. And I don't know how many times I have to say this, but universities in general are a globalist pagan psyop. So, it'd be better to send your kid to a yeshiva or something like that, or a trade school, uh, rather than to a indoctrination center, aka university. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to talk about the cognitive dissonance. There will be no queers for Syria. Nobody is going to treat the Syrian situation, even though it's probably more dire and more Muslims getting hurt will be the case. But they're not going to treat it like Gaza, except for the instances in which they can say, oh, Israel is sneaking in the Golan Heights and taking over part of Syria. That's really the only part that they will mention because there are Jews involved. Otherwise, they don't care. No Jews, no news. So, as we can see, we see how it goes. If you can see on the little ticker on the bottom there, do remember to visit all of the links, but they can all be reached from the JDL.US. And please donate so we can keep the stream going and all of the other internet activities such as the blog and the telegrams, etc., etc. I do want to mention also to check out all of the Devar Torah videos from Rabbi Nachum Shifrin that are on our YouTube channel, the YouTube channel for JDL USA. Please listen to what that man has to say. He's a Torah scholar, and he learned from Rabbi Kahana and a couple other great rabbis as well. So definitely check out those videos on the YouTube. We do also post them onto the newsletter on the blog. If you want to support JDL USA another way besides making a direct donation, is to get a paid subscription to the blog. Okay. All right. I hope everyone has a great week, and we will see you this time next week.
Ahava Israel, love of Israel and Judaism.
Hadar, dignity and pride.
Barzal, iron strength.
Mishmaat, discipline and unity.
Bitachon, faith in the indestructibility of the Jewish people.